Then there's the home pregnancy test. So the home pregnancy test is based upon antibodies. Let's see if I can, and antigens. Let's see if I can get this right. So the first thing you do is you pee onto the test. And the pee has antigen in it. That's the antigen, this HCG. And the pee also has pee, or more precisely, it has water. And that's an important component of this because what you have here is a wick, and it takes the water and the water starts moving up the wick. And when it moves up the wick, it picks up antibody with it, and the antibody has been tagged with a color. And the antibody goes along, and the antigen goes along, and you've got another antibody that's sitting right here that is an antibody to the antigen, ideally a different location on the antigen. And so if you've got the antigen present in your urine, then it's going to react with the color-dyed antibody. And if that antigen is there, it's also going to react with this other set of antibodies that's sitting right there, and you're going to get a concentration, therefore, of the dye here on that line, and that's a positive. Alternatively, here we have an antibody that is to that antibody. And that is our, I guess, positive control. And what it does is it simply concentrates antibody. And that tells you that, in fact, you've got antibody with the color here. But you only get that line becoming dark if you also have this antigen that is responsible for binding the antibody that's sitting in the absorbent fixed to the color-tagged antibody. I have to say that the home pregnancy tests that have 2 lines are something that drives you crazy because you're, of course, all excited. That's why you got the home pregnancy test, whether it's excited in a good way or excited in a bad way. But nevertheless, you get this stupid thing and you've done this home pregnancy test. Then you're like, what the hell does that mean? And then you have to get out the instructions and you have to say, where does it say in English what the 2 lines mean versus 1 line? But of course, they also have the tests that have little plus versus minus. And the ones with the plus versus minus, I imagine all they did was take these 2 lines and cross them together so that if you just have a negative, you just get the equivalent of that line. But if you have a positive, you get that line as well. But at least you don't have to read the instruction manual. My wife, my mother-in-law, I think, had some kind of surgery, and she went out to Arizona for a week. And to take care of my mother-in-law. And apparently she spent the whole week just totally pissed off. And she came back and she said she was tired and she was pissed off. And I was like, oh my God, all I want to do, I've got this book I'm reading and I'm like on the last 50 pages of it. And I've been reading it for a week now. And all I want to do is read the last 50 pages. And she was like, no, home pregnancy test. And I was like, there goes my book reading. And it was positive.
For the next 15 years.
Well, actually, at this point, it's the next 18 years. She just turned, that was 18 years ago. I know this well, actually, it wasn't 18 years ago. It was probably going on 19 years ago. I think it was in June. Because then there's, of course, the delay until the baby actually comes out. Don't forget that. There is this delay.
Lag phase. Did you ever finish
What was that?
Lag phase.
Lag phase. Yeah, lag phase. Yeah, I'm sure I finished the book. And it wasn't, for the record, for the camera, it was uncool of me to prioritize finishing the book over this miracle of life. But nonetheless, that's how we went through it. But the important point is that we took this stupid pregnancy test, and there were 2 lines, and I had absolutely no idea what it meant, and so then we had to start reading the instructions. Cheap pregnancy test, not necessarily a bargain.